The first time I walked into that doctor's office, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that he was so young. I was incredibly embarrassed and had no idea what I was supposed to do. I mean, I hadn't prepared myself for this at all. When I had to go onto the examination table and he started the checkup, the situation was really difficult for me. Back then, I just didn't know how to handle it. I had a major health issue. I really needed to see a gynecologist. And honestly, the person who pointed this out to me was my neighbor. We live in a kind of traditional neighborhood, and for my husband, the idea of me being examined by a male doctor is a huge problem. For him, it's either a female doctor or no doctor at all. Ever since I got married, I've been struggling with a big issue. My husband doesn't fulfill my needs. I'm just made that way. What am I supposed to do? God created me with these desires. I'm never fully satisfied. I constantly want more, and honestly, I was too ashamed to talk to my husband about it. I would just settle for every now and then spending some time alone in my room, maybe watching a movie and trying to, relieve the pressure a bit. But of course, that's just not the same as being with your husband. But what else could I do? That was the only option I felt I had. I would occasionally try to hint to my husband. Like, after he was finished, I'd say, "Can you stay with me a little longer? I'm not done yet." Or I'd try to bring it up jokingly. But his response was always the same. He'd say, "Listen, when I'm done, I don't like anyone touching me. And when I say it's over, it's over." Then he'd just leave me, go back to sleep. This really hurt my feelings. That's why I stopped talking to him about it. And because I was taking care of myself so often, it started to really wear me down. I developed bad inflammation down there, like a real irritation. I think it was from doing it so much. I started complaining to my neighbor, Sarah. I told her, "I have this terrible inflammation. I don't know what to do about it." She said, "You know what? There's a new doctor who just opened a practice at the end of our street, but you have no idea how good he is." I said, "A doctor? No way. And who's going to agree to this? My husband would never approve. You know how he is." She told me, "Honey, just don't tell him. Tell him you're going to a female doctor somewhere else. Just listen to me. This doctor is seriously skilled. I can't even tell you how much." I said, "Okay, I'll think about it." She replied, "Don't think too long. You'll just keep suffering. If I were you, I'd just go get checked out. Don't waste time. I'll even make the appointment for you." So, my friend Sarah made the phone call for me. She got me the address and my appointment slot. I went there and sat in the clinic waiting for my turn. I wasn't expecting at all what I was about to find. When I went in, I thought he'd be an older man, like in his 50s or 60s or something. Then I heard the nurse call my name. "Jessica, the doctor will see you now." I walked in. The first moment I entered the exam room, I didn't see him. I sat down on the chair in front of the desk. After a minute, he walked in and said, "Hello. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here." I turned to look at him and saw a young man. A really young guy, maybe 35, probably not even that. As soon as I saw him, I froze. I was so embarrassed I didn't know what to do, especially since I hadn't prepared myself for this. If I had known he was going to be so young, I would have, I don't know, mentally prepared differently. I was so embarrassed. Honestly, I started stalling and dragging out the conversation, hoping he might just prescribe something based on what I said without needing to examine me. But I sat there and explained what was bothering me, what exactly was causing me trouble. However, he insisted that he had to do an examination, that he couldn't just give me medication based on my description alone. He said he needed to see for himself. I had no other choice. He said, "Please come with me to the exam table." I walked ahead of him, utterly embarrassed and unsure of what to do, wondering how this day would even end. I sat down on the exam table. He started telling me how to get ready for the examination. I did what he said. The moment he began the exam, he gave a slight, strange smile. I was mortified and tried not to look at him, but he was completely focused on me. After about 5 minutes, he said, "All right, you can join me at the desk. I'm finished with the exam." I took a deep breath and then went over to his desk. I asked him, "So, what's the news, doctor?" He said, "I need to ask you a question. Is your husband here with you?" I said, No, of course not." He said, "Okay. It's clear that, well, he's quite vigorous." I asked, "Why do you say that?" He replied, "There's significant inflammation and some minor abrasions." I finally admitted, "To be honest, doctor, the problem isn't from my husband." And I told him the whole story, in detail. After all, he was my doctor now, and I felt I needed to tell him the truth. He just smiled, wrote me a prescription for some medication, and asked to see me again the following week. I went home, and a little while later, my neighbor Sarah came over and immediately asked, "So, what happened?" The first thing I said was, "I'm so mad at you. Why didn't you tell me he was so young?" She said, "Okay, he's young, but he's also gorgeous, right? Did you see him? Did you see how handsome he is?" I said, "Yeah, I saw him." She asked, "Well, tell me what happened." I said, "Nothing happened. He examined me, gave me some medicine, and wants to see me again in a week." But I was so embarrassed. She asked, "Why?" I said, "When I went, I wasn't prepared. And he saw me like that." She said, "Oh, all right, next time before you go, let's get you all fixed up. We'll do everything we can." And sure enough, before my next appointment, I got myself ready as if I was going on a date. Then I went back to him. I waited for my turn like usual. When I walked in, the moment he saw me, he smiled again. So this time I asked him, "Doctor, can I ask you a question?" He said, "Of course, go ahead." I asked, "Why do you smile every time you see me?" He just said, "Oh, it's nothing." Then he asked, "So, did you follow the treatment plan I gave you?" I said, "Yes, doctor." He said, Great. Well, let's not waste any time. Please come to the exam table." So I went again. And the very moment he began the examination, his touch, honestly, I was transported to another world. And he got really into it too. We ended up staying for over 2 hours. I guess he lost track of time and I didn't refuse or say no. He started doing all the things I needed, all the things I was deprived of, the things my husband never did for me. Honestly, since that time, we've had an arrangement where I go to his clinic periodically, and we spend that time together, just the two of us. Frankly, ever since then, I've been doing everything he tells me to. But the problem is, my husband has started to ask questions. Why is it that every time I want you, you tell me no, or you're tired, or something's wrong? And honestly, I don't know what to do anymore. That's why I'm telling you my story. Maybe you can give me some advice? I trust your opinions, and I'll be waiting to read all your comments carefully.